Port Authority of Guam management has been requesting that the Civil Service Commission hold an evidentiary hearing to demonstrate that they complied with the 60-day rule when adverse action was served on several port workers. Leon Guerrero was one of several port employees who were terminated for their alleged role in a scheme to defraud the government and then cover it up. The latest documents filed on Wednesday with the CSC reveal that management continues to build its case to prove that there was a concerted effort to give illegal benefits to former Port Marketing Administrator Bernadette Stern-Menow. As we reported, Menow claims she slipped and fell in the Port Authority bathroom in September of 2011. She refused to go to the hospital and nearly a year later claimed she needed back surgery as a result of the slip and fall. The more than $70,000 travel request and authorization had been processed and approved by port management until it was red flagged by the governor's office. But a Port Safety Inspector 3 has now come forward, confessing in a sworn affidavit under the penalty of perjury that he conducted an investigation on the very same day of the reported injury by Menow in the ladies' room. While Menow has said she slipped and fell while exiting a bathroom stall, Solis states, quote, "I did not find any signs of injury or evidence that she fell or any slippery substance which could have caused her to slip or fall. Menow's claims were inconsistent with my own findings, so I was very skeptical about her account," end quote. Now, we should note, though, that a series of emails were previously submitted to the Civil Service Commission that claimed the cleaner had sprayed Fabuloso on the floor, which would make it slippery for an unsuspecting individual. Menow also claimed that there were marks from her shoes sliding that could be seen on the floor. But Solis maintains there was no evidence and said because Menow refused medical treatment, there was no report of any injury or any incident ever written by the safety department at that time. But more than a year later, Solis says his supervisor, Safety Administrator Frank Roberto, instructed him to retrieve Menow's file from Vivian Leon so that it could be turned over to legal counsel. When he went to get that file, Solis claimed that Leon was fixing the file. A few days later, Leon allegedly stated she wanted an incident report added to Menow's file to support her claim about the slip and fall. Solis states, quote, "Roberto instructed me to write a report dated September 22, 2011, and further instructed that I include what Leon wanted me to say in the report. I was directed to write the report consistent with Menow's account of what allegedly happened on the date Menow claimed she was injured, rather than based on my actual findings, which indicated there was no trace of an accident or injury," end quote. He went on to say that he drafted a memo regarding the work injury, but Roberto or Leon Guerrero edited these drafts at least twice, which Leon Guerrero sent to Roberto. That memo, dated September 22, 2011, states that Menow slipped and fell on an oily surface on the floor, and it was cleaned by maintenance personnel. Solis claims that in late January of this year, Leon Guerrero admitted to Roberto and himself that she backdated changes and additions to documents then General Manager Mary Torres turned over to Port Counsel. Roberto himself also signed a sworn affidavit attesting to the same information. He said the safety office did not prepare or issue a 101A authorizing medical treatment for Menow back in 2011. As we've mentioned in prior reports, that form was allegedly altered first to indicate that Menow refused treatment, but was then seen at American Medical Center, and then later that was scratched out and the Guam Memorial Hospital was written in over it. Roberto says in July of 2012 he was informed by Francine Rocho that Menow was in the Philippines and had undergone an MRI and informed her that any work injury required a doctor's certification, which he says he never received. He went on to say that Menow misrepresented to him that she suffered a work injury on September 22, 2011. He said, quote, "Vivian Leon directed that I approve Menow's medical treatment through the Workers' Compensation Program. I could not defy Leon without severe repercussions," end quote. In November, Roberto says he sat in on a meeting at the Port Authority with Menow's requested surgeon, Dr. Stephen Hayashida, who attributed Menow's back and leg problems to another existing medical condition and not to Menow's alleged work injury. He says Dr. Hayashida has never represented to the Port Authority that Menow's alleged back problem was the result of a work injury. Roberto's affidavit goes on to state that he never authorized Menow to receive medical treatment and never approved an extended stay for Menow in Hawaii, and claims former GM Mary Torres never informed him that she changed Menow's travel request with increased travel funding. Meno is currently fighting her case in the Civil Service Commission, while her husband, AJ, has filed a government claim seeking $3 million in damages from the Port Authority, claiming invasion of privacy for the agency's release of her son's confidential medical records. Meno is scheduled to appear before the commission on July 9th, while Josette Javalosa's motion to dismiss is scheduled to be heard on Tuesday. Leon Guerrero, meanwhile, has a motion hearing before the CSC slated for July 18th. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Mindy Egan.